Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Theater of Football. I'm Mike Hodum, and I'm joined by Patrick Heinrich. Uh,
Hey,
Patrick,
everybody.
Patrick. This time it took a little while for United to get going at Villa Park on Thursday, but they ended up getting all 3 points.
Yeah, we had to run the lead out of our shoes in the first half. I don't know if the back-to-back games with the same starting lineup is starting to get to our team, but I definitely think that we were a bit sluggish out there, a bit sloppy, and it took us a while to get in our rhythm and work through it, but we eventually got there, and it was great.
That's funny. I actually I put lead inside my boots in high school as a goalkeeper, so I could get an extra, I don't know, 3 yards on my goal kicks.
Nice.
Uh,
I thought it
I
was to
don't,
keep you from not jumping too high. You jump like specifically, right to the edge of the goal post.
yes, make things just absolutely perfect.
Exactly.
Scientific science, sports science. Um, but no, after that game, after the game at Villa Park, I feel it is time that we on this channel do some justice to Mason Greenwood. I've
Hmm.
been I haven't really wanted to talk about him much because he's only 18 and did it. I know this channel is heavily followed. I don't want to put too much pressure on the young kid, but given his beautiful goal again on Thursday. Patrick, do you think it's time that he's one of the first few names on the team sheet going forward each match?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we just need to, let him loose, put him out there. I think he's getting more and more and more confident, and that we're seeing has had explosive results. I think we need to get him out there more often. I'm a little concerned about, what happens when, as we all know, sometimes you go through a dry spell and you can't get those goals every single game. Is that going to, take a toll on his confidence, or is he going to be able to rise through that? But I think he needs to work through that, and I think the best way to do that is to get him on the pitch.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think where Ole's mismanaged some players this year, mainly Dan James. I mentioned it in the past. He was lacking confidence for a good 20-25 starts. I mean, he just kept throwing him out there. Ole, I think in his defense, he didn't have many other options with the injuries that we were going through during late fall and early winter. But
Yeah.
if that happens with Greenwood, if he starts to kind of go in a little mini slump for 4 or 5 games, then yeah, give him a game or two off. As long as you
Yeah.
communicate with him, we still like what you're doing. We just don't want to push you to keep going out there. We want you to maintain your confidence. So
Yeah.
it is a delicate situation for any manager to handle when you have a 18-year-old coming up through scoring goals like crazy, beautiful goals at
Yeah.
that. But I think Ole can do it. What are
Yeah.
you
I,
gonna say?
I think it's a good time too to discover your confidence. If he can ride this through to the end of the season, it just is a perfect way to go out, and then hopefully will solidify his confidence coming into the next season.
Yeah, and given our unique year 2020, and we'll talk about this coming up, but the Europa League, if we make it all the way to the final, that's on August 21st, and rumor has it that the Premier League will start somewhere around the middle of September. So
Hmm.
that's only like three and a half weeks off.
Yeah.
So, and then there's also, I believe, an international break where many of our players are going to be on international duties for their country.
Right.
So um, I don't know if Greenwood would get a call up to England. I think it may be too soon for that.
Hmm.
No, Gareth Southgate. I've read that he's been watching him closely, though.
Sure.
But I don't know. He might get a little bit of a break, but I think a normal, off season would be 3 months. Yeah, you probably have a 5 or 6 weeks off
Hmm.
before coming back for preseason training. But I think transitioning quickly into that next season might be a boost for him as he can just keep that good form going and keep working hard. It was clear that he worked on his body. He looks bulkier during the 3 months of lockdown. So yeah, that's definitely helped him out.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He's also muscled his way out of a few situations already. So, you know.
Yeah. And that was one thing, like maybe earlier in the season when he got had some playing time, that he got muscled off the ball a little too easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really seen that unless somebody's shoving him square in the back when that's where the referee needs to do his job. But
Yeah.
I digress. Um, another talking point, something that you actually predicted in our preview video for the match. When we were talking about Jack Grealish, you were interested to see how he would match up with our triumvirate, if you will, in the middle of the park of Bruno, Paul, and Nemanja. And what did you make of Grealish's game, and in particular the game within the game with him and Matic, basically?
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly didn't impress me. Didn't do anything that I would think was interesting or worthwhile. I thought he was slow and sloppy. And I think that what this game showed is that he really doesn't have a very good place in what's been established with Bruno and Pogba. And I just don't think that he would fit into the kind of gameplay style that we've created.
Yeah, our style of play's picked up, especially since the lockdown, but even beforehand. And I hate to bring up his name, but Graham Souness said on Sunday during the Villa-Liverpool match that he thought Grealish gets fouled so much because he reads the game too slow. Mm-hmm. And there's probably 5-6 chances where he had the ball in decent positions in that game, and he didn't play the ball quickly enough. He did get fouled 2 or 3 times, of course. He got Matic booked, but he didn't. He would release the ball, but it would be after he'd take 3 or 4 touches, and we're releasing the ball 1-2 touch football. That's what Ole wants to play. Given any price tag I've seen, which the low end I've seen has been 50 million. That's even more than what we paid for Bruno. You got to be kidding me on that. So yeah. We made some bad transfer deals in the recent past, and we could do it again. But this one, it's a hard sell for me to say that we need to go get Jack Grealish.
Yeah, we should save our money to put it somewhere else. I mean, what we have created in the midfield is working really well. So let's direct our attention elsewhere, like we talked about before.
Yeah, I think actually if we spent no money on fees in the transfer window and all we did was sign Pogba to a contract extension, and maybe we go out and get a good doctor to keep him off the trainer's table, keep him fit, that would be the best bit of business that we could do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Tie Pogba down to another 5-year deal, so we're not looking to move him on sooner rather than later. He looks happy. He was hugging players, even though maybe he should be concerned about social distancing. Yeah. But it was nice to see him in a good mood hugging players before the match. He gave Bruno a hug, gave Anthony a hug. So that's good to see. That's what United fans want to see out of him.
Yeah.
But our first goal came via a semi-controversial penalty decision. And it wasn't the only penalty decision on the day that was contentious. Each of the 3 matches on Thursday had a penalty decision or non-penalty decision that the VAR match center said that they should have taken a look at and reversed the call on the field. Mm-hmm. Patrick, what do you make of that, of them coming out and saying that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just the kind of the situation you get set up when you have and add VAR to the matches. There's a reluctance to consistently override calls made on the field, I think. So I think that there's kind of a balance between how often is VAR really overriding calls. To say nothing about whether the calls are good or not, I think there's a desire to make sure that there's a balance between what calls are standing on the field and what calls are being overridden by VAR. So that balance, I think, is kind of showing itself a little bit lately. I'm not too concerned about it. I think it's just one of those situations where, we just, happened to have 3 matches and had, 3 opportunities for, for people to get a little upset about it.
Yeah, well, I didn't like it, but mainly because I disagreed with them.
Yeah.
The 2 of the 3 decisions were penalties that were given, and the third one was a penalty that wasn't given by the on-field referee. And
Mm-hmm.
VAR looked at all 3 and decided to stick with the on-field referee's decision.
Yeah.
Now, even as a United fan, when I saw the Bruno Fernandes foul live, I thought it was obvious penalty. Then I saw the replay, and I'm like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But if I'm not sure, should VAR or is the VAR referee sure? I think it was Graham Scott doing the Villa match. Is he 100% sure that John Moss made a mistake? And they want the referees to go over to the monitors and look at it for themselves. And I think that was a good opportunity for him to do that. And the other 2 matches, I saw the incidents for those as well. And Kane going over, he was shoved, but he was also tripping over, I believe, Vertonghen, his own teammate as well.
His own team. So
that's difficult to say that should have been a penalty. And then the other one was kind of just a running together of Ward-Prowse of Southampton and I believe Andre Gomez of Everton. But if it happened outside the box, the referee would 99% of the time give a free kick in favor of Southampton because Andre Gomez did block him out. He did try to at the last second to kind of pull out, but I mean, sometimes you can't. It's too late.
Yeah.
So based upon that, I always look at it as, would this be a foul outside the box? If yes, then it should be a foul inside the box.
Yeah.
So I thought VAR did the right thing and just staying out of it. I think that's what they should do going forward. I think being Americans, I watch usually during the summer. I watch MLS as kind of my football fix while
Bridge.
To bridge the gap between the Premier League. Hasn't been the case this summer, obviously, but last year they had VAR in effect and they used it really well. It barely. They hardly ever used it. It was mostly just used for offside call. They pretty much stuck with anything the on-field ref chose, unless it was a blatant mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they used it well, but for some reason, and I've seen it in other leagues too, where it doesn't seem to be an issue. So I don't know. It's something that just needs to be fixed. And if they make a mistake and somebody there at the headquarters thinks it's a mistake, I think they just need to keep their mouth shut because that just brings the whole system into more disrepute.
Yeah.
Sorry. Rant over. Moving on to better things. The Europa League draw was today.
Mm-hmm.
And if United advanced to the quarterfinals, we're 5-0 up after the first leg against Lask. So that should be a yes.
Yep.
We would play the winner of Copenhagen, and I'm going to butcher their name, Istanbul Başakşehir, in the quarterfinals. This is a competition, given our form and the form and quality of the teams that are left, that we should be favorites in, right?
Emphatically, yes. Indeed, we should. Bar any other additional commentary, that answer to that is yes.
I mean, we'll do a Europa, since it's the Europa League. I believe our last match is going to be either on the 5th or the 6th of August, which would be 4 or 5 days removed from the FA Cup final. So it'll be kind of like a little mini tournament exclusively for us to play in. No two-legged draw, straight knockout. So we'll of course do a little preview video for that around the start of August. And we'll look at that more in depth. Staying kind of on the topic of Europe, United's next match is this Monday up at Old Trafford against Southampton. That's also rumored to be the day that City and the world finds out the decision on their European ban appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this decision would be a distraction for us going into that match later on in the day against Southampton?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we're still going to end up playing the same way. I mean, we still want to, get as high up in the table as we can. I don't think that, the difference that it makes for us, for Manchester United, where we're positioned, we're still going to want third or fourth anyway. So I don't think we're going to settle for fifth. So I think we're going to keep pushing, especially with the way that Manchester United has been playing. I don't think it makes much of a difference or will distract or take away from the game for Southampton.
Yeah, I agree with you that regardless of the decision, we're not going to settle for fifth. But I do think in terms of human nature, mentality of players, if a decision comes down that the 2-year ban is upheld, or it's not upheld, it's just reduced to 1 year, meaning that fifth place then becomes a Champions League spot.
Yeah.
There might be a little something that seeks into the psyche of the players just for that game. I don't know going forward, but just in that game and the immediate aftermath where you might take your foot off the pedal, kind of like Liverpool clinching the title so early, and then they come out and get bashed by City, and then they're very poor for an hour against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
There's just it wasn't like the effort wasn't there, but there's just a level of sharpness and speed of thought that might go away.
Yeah.
So that would be my only concern. I think if the appeal is successful by City, and I hope it is, that the players will be even more focused for that, knowing that, okay, what we thought all along, that we need top four, we definitely need top four.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I don't think it would be it would take, it would be a distraction in a sense, but it wouldn't be it wouldn't hurt the performance, or it wouldn't change our performance, I don't think, if the ban gets overturned. I'm just concerned if the ban stays, because I don't want the ban to be there and then us to relax, or us to finish fifth and get in Europe, and then everyone say, "Oh, you're only in Europe because City City got banned."
Yeah, we don't want the asterisk.
Yeah, we don't want we want to avoid all asterisks.
Yeah.
So we want even if they're banned, we still want to finish third or fourth, so that we're not the asterisk team. That could be Chelsea or Leicester.
Yeah,
that's fine with me.
Yeah.
But having said that, I really hope City is successful in overturning their ban, because the rules, the financial fair play rules that UEFA is trying to enforce, I question whether PSG is faithful in their recordings of from their accountants as well, their financial records, because the amount of money they've spent compared to the amount of money coming into that club from sponsorships and TV revenue, that doesn't seem like it adds up. I mean, City get good revenue, especially finishing first the last couple of years, from TV money and other sponsorships. Yes, 3 of their main sponsors are also owned by their owners, so that is shady and fishy, and can cause them to cook the books. But there is a lot more money coming into the Premier League than there is coming into Ligue 1. So if PSG is doing the same thing, PSG is in a great position, because UEFA is not looking at the French league saying, "Oh, is there another team we want in the competition in their place?" UEFA is looking at the Premier League and saying, "Oh, well, Arsenal's struggling lately, past half a decade, struggling to make it into the Champions League. So is United. Chelsea's missed out a couple years. Liverpool missed out a couple years. These are all clubs that are going to attract more attention to their brand, the Champions League, than City will, even though City probably play the best football out of all of them. The fact is, people recognize the names of those other clubs. Novice fans in America and, I don't know, Australia and China, wherever, recognize Manchester United. They recognize Arsenal. They recognize Liverpool. So this feels like it's just more shady business dealings by UEFA, in my opinion, to try and fix the Champions League, try to get the teams in. And what would be so ironic about this is if Leicester is the team that winds up finishing fifth this year, because they would want City ahead of Leicester, I'm sure. So if you kick City, if the ban's upheld, maybe for one season, and Leicester end up finishing fifth, then UEFA's all this, headache that UEFA's gone through to try and enforce their financial fair play rules has been for naught, because I think it's just complete. I'm looking at it from a very cynical standpoint that they're trying to fix the competition. Do you kind of understand that point?
Yes, absolutely. I can definitely see. I mean, when it comes down to it, the money's in the viewings. UEFA cares about their brands. They're probably trying to do a lot of stuff to make sure that they're, increasing viewership, attracting the right teams as much as they can do. But I agree. There's definitely some, in talking through it, and I know you and I have had some, back end conversations about it. But in looking through all of it further, I agree with you. I'm on your side.
Yeah, I mean, I don't set out to defend City or anything.
Yeah.
I know they did some stuff wrong,
Right.
but I see similar stuff probably is happening down in Paris.
Right.
And UEFA is not going to do anything about it. They're just going to make an example out of City because it serves their purposes to legitimize the financial fair play rules and helps potentially get a struggling, United or Arsenal or Chelsea into Europe. But maybe they'll just get Leicester or maybe Wolves if Wolves turn around their 2-game skid. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some, I think, choice picking of when they choose to enforce it and when they don't. So that for sure, if anything, is true in my eyes.
Yeah, and for about a decade now, I want to say, there's been off and on rumors that there could be a breakaway European Super League outside of UEFA control concerning the top clubs in Europe.
Yeah.
And who knows if that'll happen, but UEFA is probably a little nervous about this, and this is another reason why you'd want to try and get a United or an Arsenal into Europe. Or I was going to say Spurs, but they'd probably prefer City to Spurs. That's probably a wash, but
more or less.
Hopefully Steve Nash isn't watching. That's all for today. The curtain is now closed on the theater of football. Please leave your thoughts on our performance at Villa, the Europa League draw, or my take on the City's European ban and how their appeal will go in the comments section. So for Patrick, I'm Mike. Have a great night.
Cheers, everybody.